Say what? Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, then let me get hey, Kate, come on, man. Man, you not about to get all that stuff, man. Go put that back, man. Get a little bag, man.
Daddy. What up, boy? Who you up here with? Oh, what up, bro? That's all you
Come
get
on.
right there?
Man, put that back. Come on, let's go.
If that's all you get, go ahead and get it.
I said put it back, man.
I got it, bro. Don't worry about it, man. No paper shortage. Go ahead, man.
Come on, dog.
Your dog, this right here. And whatever puppy you on, give him 5 on that. I'll give you an address. I'll give you a phone number. All right.
Hold on. Yo, man, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Spann Report Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 340 of the report, man. And this video here, man, I got this off Instagram. Shout out to my man Al for sending me this. It's basically like this skit is like when you out with your son and they see their stepdaddy in public. Yo, I fucking died, man, when that lady in the back was like, yo, that kid need a new daddy, because my man was refusing to buy this kid this candy and shit. Stepdaddy showed up and showed the fuck out, even put $5 on his pump and shit. It's kind of crazy, man, kind of crazy. Hey, man, real talk, happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers, man. Yo, man, that shit had me dying, man. I felt like I need to share that with y'all, because you know what, I felt like y'all would get some laughter and edification out of that too, man. Real talk. But yo, man, like I said, this is episode number 340 of the Spann Report Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. Thank you for everybody who's showing up here and who's gonna listen to this here later. It's been a couple weeks, man, since I talked to y'all, man. Your man Spann been on some celebration mode type of shit. I have been celebrating my birthday. I have been celebrating my daughter graduated from high school. I have been celebrating Juneteenth. I have been just like celebrating the fact that like Michigan has finally gotten rid of some of its more stringent COVID restrictions. I shouldn't say I've been celebrating it, but it does gives you like kind of a bit of hope for like some better shit going forward, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? I know the news ain't exactly the greatest as far as like, you know, the unvaccinated people are still refusing to get vaccinated and all that shit. We're gonna talk about a lot of that stuff later. But yeah, man, your man Spann has been in a real good fucking space. I've been in a real good space, man, and you know, just kind of like embracing the fact that like I'm probably in the best position I've ever been in my fucking life, man. And I'm grateful for that. So like, you know, when I was celebrating my 41st birthday, man, like I was like just like sitting back, just thinking about like the position that I'm in right now. Like I couldn't have seen it. I couldn't have seen this shit like not even a decade ago. And for me to be in a position that I'm in right now, it's like, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And so, man, I've been like in a really, really, really good festive sort of mood, man, despite the fact that my body ain't feeling the greatest. You know what I'm saying? I still got the tendonitis in the elbow and shit. You know what I'm saying? My back still hurts every now and again. But you know what, man? Your man Spann is in a real good spot. And I feel like I should share that. I should share that joy and euphoria and all that other shit when I'm on the mic with y'all, man. So yeah, man, real talk. Your man Spann been feeling good, man. But before we get into everything Spann Report related, of course, I gotta remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report Podcast. Let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here and responded to here live on the show. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course, those emails will get right here and reply to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead, follow me there, and chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. You can also hit us up on our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there and watch replays of these shows. You can vote in the polls when we decide to put those polls up. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Podcast Network. You can also visit our store and cop yourself some merch, man. Get yourself a nice fly t-shirt or a coffee mug or a water bottle or a mouse pad or like an iPad pouch or some shit like that. We got that kind of stuff in the store, man. So go ahead and patronize us in that way. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Also, 5-star reviews on iTunes and or Stitcher Radio. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that because it doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Spann Podcast Network, man. Real talk. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't tell y'all like how I got this shirt here, man. This Blood People Land shirt, man. This shit is real kind of fly, man. I like the material of the cotton and shit, man. This shit sits on your boy Spann well, man. I feel like, like it feel good on the skin. It feel good on the skin. And shout out to my man James Pitts, man, over at Black Excellence brand, man. Real talk, one of my homies from college, man. Got the Black Excellence brands popping off. The link is in the show notes, so you can go ahead and cop yourself a Blood People Land shirt, man. I really do fuck with this shirt, man. Real talk, I'm out to get some more stuff from the Black Excellence brand, man. Real talk, and shout out to my man James for coming up with this shit, man. Real talk. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now, man. And this is something, like I said, I'm in a real good space, man. I want people to win. And so when I see people that I know doing some shit, some dope shit, I want to help them with that. I want to promote them with that. Like I want everybody around me to win. I want everybody to win, man. And so he was posting these on Facebook. I'm like, yo, man, how do I get that? You know what I'm saying? And he shot me the link and I'm like, yo, man, all right. Here it is. He go to Bread and he shot me the shirt. I got my shirt and I had forgot I ordered it, but it was like, yo, it came real quick. I work a lot of hours too, so I don't be thinking about a whole hell of a lot of shit. But when it came out, oh shit, that's here already. You know what I'm saying? And yo, man, I like this shit, man. I like the material. I like the printing and all this other. This shit feels good, man. And like I said, this shit feels good on my body, man. It sits on my body well, man. I look swole when I'm wearing this bitch, right? So yeah, man. Shout out to the Black Excellence brand, man. Real talk. And patronize him. The link will be in the show notes, man. So you guys can go ahead, hit that link, and you can get that shirt, or you can get any of the other shirts and stuff that he has on that website as well, man. So go ahead and patronize my homie, man. Real talk. Appreciate you, brother, with the shirt. And yo, man. It is time for me to kind of reflect a little bit, man. Because like I said, man, it's been a couple weeks since the last time I talked to y'all. Now, last week, we didn't do a show as we were planning to do a beer and chicken show, right? And, like I said, it was my birthday weekend. Shit kind of took precedence over the beer and chicken. We will be doing beer and chicken next week. Me and Cliff have been talking. But, yo, man, what me and the wife did, man, we did a staycation, man. Like we got trips that we planned for later on in the year, but like the staycation was actually pretty dope. And here's the reason why I said the staycation was pretty dope, right? Because like y'all know, like I live in the Detroit area, man, and the Detroit area doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation for a whole hell of a lot of shit, man. We got, it's crime riddled, is poverty stricken. And, these are some of the like the vast stereotypes of what it means to live in Detroit. But what people don't also recognize is that Detroit is like also being gentrified like a motherfucker, man. And, one of the things about it is that like, we stayed in a hotel downtown and, we started like just kind of treating it almost like we would when we would go to New Orleans. So like when we go to New Orleans, man, we pretty much stay in the French Quarter and, you got the bars and the restaurants and stuff like that. Like, and we got our haunts, we got the places that we would go normally and stuff like that. But, one of the things when I say we treated it like the French Quarter was that like we went everywhere walking, right? Me and my wife do a lot of walking when we were like in New Orleans and stuff. And so we did a lot of things in Detroit that we would normally, we just kind of walk into these places. And what I found was interesting was that there were so many cool little spots in Detroit that had my wife not introduced me to these spots, I would have no clue these places even fucking existed. Because I don't really frequent downtown Detroit like that. And the thing is, a lot of people in the neighborhoods and stuff, a lot of people just don't really fuck with downtown like that. And so when you don't fuck with downtown like that, sometimes you miss out on some opportunities or you miss out on some places that you don't know is dope that's right there. And like, because and these are places that we were going to like during the day. Like these are like, you had little bars and stuff that was open during the day, little shops and stuff. They were having Juneteenth day parties and shit out on Woodward and stuff like that. It was real cool. Like the Detroit Pistons dancers and shit was out there. It was real cool, man. It was real cool. We went to this little Mexican spot called Calexico. It's right by the Texas de Brazil restaurant, which I ain't been to in quite a while. But I'm just saying, like, yo, man, like the Calexico, like I had fajitas and shit. Them shits was good. The pina coladas and shit. I started the day drinking, man. I started early. Like we treated it like we would be in New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? And so by the end of the day, I was pooped. I was tired, man. Like, and we went back to the hotel, man. Really nice hotel. Shout out to the Foundation Hotel. But like, yo, we treated the city as though we were tourists. And so it allowed us to like kind of explore some of the things that are going on within the city of Detroit that, truthfully speaking, even living here, we probably wouldn't just like even know was there. Like, and my wife works downtown, so like she's familiar with some of these spots, but like I'm coming down and like, yo, man, what is this? I've never seen this before. I didn't know this was here. Oh, this is a really cool shop. This is a really cool little chill spot right here. Like they got good drinks here. You know, like that sort of atmosphere was going on. And so, you know, like for my birthday, man, I didn't really want a whole hell of a lot going on, man. Like I didn't, you know, like I try to keep my birthday simple now. You know, I don't really want a whole hell of a lot for my birthday. Like my wife had asked me a few weeks before my birthday had came around. She asked me, she said, you know, what do you want for your birthday? And it's like, that's always like kind of a hard question for me to answer because I don't really want for much. You know what I mean? I'm, and this is where I realize, you know, like I'm in a really, really good spot. Like I don't really want for much. Like, I couldn't tell her what I wanted, you know, because like a lot of the things that I would have thought that I would have wanted, I already got. Like that's a really good spot to be in. I'm married to my best friend. My daughter just graduated high school. I'm 41 years old. I'm established in my profession.
Oh man, hate.
What the fuck? Hey. Oh shit! Now Samsung hating on your boy, but no, I'm saying I'm establishing my profession. Like I got a lot of things going on that like are really good for me right now, and so like it made me think that like, yo, you are in the best place you could be right now, right? You don't want for anything. You are blessed beyond measure right now. It's time to receive that, own that, and be grateful in that. And so for that, man, like that's what my birthday and Juneteenth was, man, just like kind of celebrating that. You know, so yeah, man, that's what it was, man. Like we didn't do a podcast last week, but that's fine because you know what? Our homie Cook been out here cooking. You know what I'm saying? Cook been out here putting out shows for the Highly Inappropriate Show, hosted by Cook Simmons. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Cook. Like that's like my sis now, y'all. Like for real. Cook be out here like, you know, talking her shit, and I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate her, joining up with the Spann Report Podcast Network and doing the things that she's done because, yo, man, real talk, we want other voices here on the network, and so I got some other people that I have in mind and I want to bring into the fold. But yo, man, I am in a really good space, man, and I just wanted to put that out there. I'm in a really good space, and I want y'all to know that too, man. Real talk, but we do have some random thoughts. All right, we got some random thoughts here, and these are some of the things that I've been thinking about over the course of the last couple of weeks, and maybe some of you guys may have been thinking about this shit too. I know I'm not the only one who always thinks of these things, but this is something that just kind of popped in my head, right? So first things first, one of the things I was thinking about over the course of the last couple of weeks, man, was this. So Rick Ross, man, you know, shout out to Rick Ross, man. Rick Ross has like been out here announcing, you know, thigh stop. You know what I'm saying, man? And shout out to everybody who just got on to the thigh stop. You know what I'm saying? Because truthfully speaking, man, your man Spann was eating thighs at the Wingstop like last year. Apparently, we was in a goddamn test market or whatever else. Like when I was in, it was at Lincoln Park, Michigan had that location was selling thighs last year, and I was like, man, I thought that was some. I didn't know it was like some select shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he been promoting that shit, and that's all good. You know. But like the thing about Rick Ross, man, that's like been kind of getting at me. It's kind of like I'm like, I don't know about this cat, man. Now, you know, we've been allowing Rick Ross to kind of cook for a long time now, man. We kind of overlooked the fact that this nigga was the police out here rapping about selling drugs and shit, and you know, we do that because, you know, Rick Ross is like, the guy can rap. The nigga can fucking rap, man. And not only that, Rick Ross has an immaculate taste in beats, nigga. Like, a lot of times, man, even before Rick Ross, I'm like, nigga, this shit sounds motherfucking luxurious, nigga. Like the beats be sounding luxurious. Like, nigga, I feel rich listening to this shit, right? But and we've allowed a lot of shit that Rick Ross says to pass because, the fly beats and the nigga can flow, right? But, nigga, this motherfucker came out and said he cuts his own motherfucking grass on an estate they got over 100 goddamn acres, man.
Well, that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
And you know what, man? I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, man. Like, nigga, I was cool with you lying about the drugs you sold. Okay? I was cool with that. I was cool with you selling these little bitty ass thighs at the wing stop. I was cool with that. That was all right, because they were tasty. But, nigga, you cutting your own grass? Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. You ain't cutting your own grass, man. Come on, B. You ain't got to lie to us like that. Like, come on, man. We've been allowing you to play in our face for a long time. You ain't got to keep playing like that, though. You know what I'm saying? This nigga ain't out here cutting his own grass, B. I don't cut my own grass, and I make a whole hell of a lot less money than Rick fucking Ross. Come on, man. Nigga ain't out there. Like, can y'all imagine, like Rick Ross out there emptying the bag on his motherfucking lawnmower, bro? This nigga's got he got a 20-gallon bag of fucking grass and shit. He got to empty that bitch so he can go out here and cut some more. Man, Rick Ross ain't out here doing that shit, man. He ain't doing it, man. I swear to God, man. Hey, keep selling the chicken thighs and the wings and giving us dope beats and flows, bruh. But I ain't buying you out here cutting your own grass, B. I ain't buying it. I don't cut my own grass. And I make less money. You lying. He lying. So, yeah, man. That was one of the things I was thinking about. Rick Ross out here lying, talking about he cut his own motherfucking grass. Fuck out of here, nigga. Nobody. Fuck out of here. I can't believe this nigga, man. Another thing, too, man. I've been having some bad experiences with the DoorDash, man. Bad experiences. I had one incident, man, where I ordered some DoorDash from the Chili's in Warren, Michigan. I'm putting them on blast. The Chili's in Warren, Michigan, man. I ordered from their website, and they had the DoorDash driver come deliver the shit because that's who they got their little agreement with, right? Now, I in order for me to get my food, see, I've had some bad experiences where, like, I had ordered some shit and then, like, the DoorDash driver didn't even bother to show up to the restaurant before the restaurant fucking closed, so I never even got my food. So by the time that they said, like, you can't get your food, not every place is closed, so now I'm sitting in my fucking house, like, I got food, but it ain't the food I want, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here hungry and the motherfucker, but I'm like, man, do I really want the Marie calendars right now? I don't know if I really want the Marie calendars, and I damn sure don't know what ramen noodles right now. I wanted the motherfucking jerk chicken that I ordered, right? But the jerk chicken place closed. So what I did was, when I ordered from Chili's, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go ahead. I get them $10. I'll get them a $10 tip to get them a little bit more incentive to, like, hurry up and give me my shit, right? Wrong. So here's what happened. I ordered from Chili's. DoorDash delivers my shit, and they bring me my food. But then I find out that the DoorDash delivery driver only brought me half of my shit. Nigga, how am I order the ultimate smokehouse combo and only get, like, the smokehouse combo? Like, nigga, where was my mashed potatoes, bruh? Like, where was my damn my smoked brisket? Nigga, like, I ain't got the brisket, I ain't got my potato, and I just gave you a $10 tip. Now, here's the thing, right? I get it. You got some asshole motherfuckers out here who will, like, entice these people with these tips beforehand, and then they'll snatch the tip back when they get their food. I ain't one of them kind of people, man. I want you to bring me my food. I tip for good service, bruh. And I felt like I don't appreciate having to tip a nigga before the service has been rendered, and then I get shitty service, and now I can't get my money back. And on top of that, I ain't even get all my fucking food, B. So then I try to call, like, the Chili's and shit, and these motherfuckers just said fuck it and just didn't answer the phone. Just didn't answer the phone, man. So, like, yo, man, like, DoorDash, Chili's, whomever, y'all need to get y'all shit together. Like, I get it, man. Like, I know, like, we talking about, like, people going back to work and stuff like that, and trusting and believe. I am an advocate for people getting the best fucking working conditions that they can get. If that's the other part that hurts so bad about it. Like, man, like, I'm out here advocating for you, but, like, come on, B, you making it hard right now. Like, man, how you gonna just give me these cold ass ribs and these fries, and I ain't got my brisket and my damn mashed potatoes, bro? Like, the loaded mashed potatoes, them shits be hitting. I ain't even get them. But you know, Chili's kind of looked at. I thought like reached out to them on Twitter and shit. They gave me some like sort of like our bad card. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta go into the damn Chili's in order to redeem the motherfucker. I can't like do carry out and shit, which is some bullshit. But that was like, it seemed like that was the best option a nigga was gonna get, because they sure as hell didn't refund me my money. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's one thing I was thinking about. Another thing I was thinking about, man. Let's normalize not saying let's normalize. You know what I mean? Let's do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like every time it's getting to a point now, man, when y'all start talking about let's normalize X, Y, and Z, it be some regular ass shit that people are already to normalize, man. Like, y'all out here really trying to normalize regular, like, nigga, let's normalize going to work from 9 to 5. Like, nigga, we already doing that. Come on, man. Y'all running out of shit to normalize. Hey, nigga, let's normalize being active fathers. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, I get you on that one. But I'm just saying, man, y'all out here advocating for, like, let's normalize. And I get it, it's the current vernacular for the social media and everything else, but I'm just saying, let's normalize, not saying let's normalize. Let's kind of like, get off that fucking trend, let's stop that, I don't know why. I'm tripping. I'm being old right now. I'm being Uncle Spann right now. Another thing I was thinking about was Juneteenth became a national holiday over the course of the last couple of weeks, man. And one of the common refrains that I saw over the course of the last couple of weeks was hold on, man. I can't let this pass. My man Jackson Charo. Let's normalize seasoning your food. You goddamn right, man. Let's normalize seasoning your food, man. You can't be out here doing just the salt and pepper to taste, man. You can't just do the salt and pepper to taste, man. Y'all gotta put some more shit in y'all food. Indeed, brother, indeed. But yeah, man, so Juneteenth became a national holiday, and one of the things that I thought was interesting was the fact that, like, I saw so many mixed reviews of the fact that Juneteenth was becoming a national holiday on my social media, right? You got a bunch of people who were like, like, it's about time. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all should have been done this. It shouldn't have taken this long. And then you had another contingent of folks who were just out here like, man, who asked for this, nigga? Nigga, I mean, shit, nigga, I want a motherfucking $15 minimum wage, nigga. I want motherfucking 2 weeks of vacation on my job, nigga. I mean, shit, nigga, I want motherfucking mandatory prison time for police who kill niggas, man. I want that shit, nigga. Y'all, but they trying to appease you, nigga, with a motherfucking holiday, nigga. Ain't nobody asked for this motherfucking holiday, nigga. There's a lot of that shit. And real talk, like, I feel like, Juneteenth, whether you felt like it was the correct date for them to have a holiday, and there's something to be said for that. I mean, a lot of the holidays that we celebrate, like Christmas, for instance, people like debate whether or not Jesus Christ was even born on December 25th and all that shit, and how it could, it's a lot of debates as to the origins of a lot of these holidays, and a lot of these holidays have real fucked up origins to begin with. But, like the thing with, like the Juneteenth thing was like, I don't know anybody who decided that, like, once we got Juneteenth as a national holiday, like, what? I guess Black Lives Matter is over, nigga. I guess we done stopped, say fuck it, man, hands up, go ahead and shoot, nigga. Like, I don't know nobody who did that, man. I don't know anybody who said, man, you know what? We don't need these voter registration sort of like laws. We don't need to protect the right to vote. We don't need the police to stop shooting people. We don't need housing discrimination laws, or housing discrimination policies to be eradicated. Like, I don't know anybody who said that just because we got Juneteenth, that these other things that we want just stopped and we gonna stop advocating for them. So it was just like kind of weird to me to like kind of listen to niggas pontificate over whether or not nobody asked for this. And on top of that, it just kind of like it was very disrespectful to the activists who did work on this, who did ask for this. There was a lot of people who were just last year talking about, yo, man, we got Juneteenth off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should have been a national holiday. Just last year, people were saying that. I got Juneteenth off from my job last year. Like, yo, man, it took somebody to die for y'all to give us this day off. I'm going to take this day off, but damn, that's kind of fucked up. Right? And then this year, they decided, like, they didn't even decide they was going to even do it at my job this year. They was like, yo, man, like, Juneteenth, it falls on a Saturday. Who gives a fuck, right? And then, like, there's that whole thing. So now you got a whole bunch of companies who are going to have to grapple with whether or not they're going to give people the day off for that holiday and everything else. But the point that I'm making is this. Like, you can be... I am black and I enjoy things, right? That is a shirt that we have in the Spann Report podcast store. But I am black and I enjoy things. I can enjoy the day off from work, but I can also use that time to advocate for the things that I want to see for black people. I can use that day to educate black people or other people on some of the things concerning black history or concerning black people that they may not have been privy to before. You can use that day to do a hell of a lot to advance whatever it is you want as far as black people are concerned. Use it for that if that's how you see fit. But to suggest that people didn't want this day is bullshit. And I'm really sick of niggas just trying to shit on things that like black people want to enjoy, that black people want to celebrate, that black people want to amplify. I'm sick of y'all, man. I really am. Like y'all some worrisome ass niggas, man. Some of y'all are so woke you need to take a fucking nap. Y'all sleep deprived, man. And sleep deprivation is really fucking with y'all damn like mental synapses and whatnot. So yeah, man. Those were the things I was thinking about. And it's time for us to get into the news. And Milo the Swift in the chat room says, who exactly asked for this day? Was there a vote that nobody knows about? Dude, there have been activists who have been advocating for this day for years. It's been a day in Texas for quite some time. As a matter of fact, many legislatures across the country, including here in Michigan, as a matter of fact, had begun to designate Juneteenth as a state mandated holiday. Whether you got the day off for that holiday was something entirely different. But this has been a thing that has been moving about for quite some time. Just because you weren't aware of it doesn't mean that this shit wasn't happening. And that's the other thing that a lot of folks need to understand. Just because you don't know about some shit, don't mean shit ain't happening. So almost like I tell people all the time, just because you don't see the air you breathing don't mean you ain't breathing that shit. Things are happening despite the fact whether you know about the shit or not. So yeah, man, there have been activists who have been asking for and fighting for this holiday for a decade. As a matter of fact, they honored those very same people when they were signing this shit into law. They were honoring the very same people who have been advocating this shit for the longest time. So yeah, man, the information is out there. Everybody, right now, you're probably watching me from a smartphone or you're watching me from a computer. That same fucking tool you could use to find out, hey man, who's been working on this? Who's been working on this? What are their names? How long have they been working on this? And then you wouldn't come on this show asking me who was asking for this day and what was the vote that nobody knows about. All right? But for real, man. Yo, that's been my random thoughts. We into the news. And our first story here in the news has to do with the fact that, Derek Chauvin was finally fucking sentenced for killing and the murder of George Floyd. And he got 22 years in prison for that.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, man, let me pull this story up. I should have had this shit pulled up already, but I've been running my goddamn mouth. All right, let's go to the news. All right, yeah, so we get this story here. This actually comes from NBCnews.com. And as a matter of fact, there's video associated with this, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the video so you guys can watch right along with me. Hold on just a second while I pull this video up. Let's do this. Let's stop that one. And let's add this one. All right. All right, here we go. We get this here like I said from NBC.com. Oh, they've got an ad. We're not gonna play that ad right now. We're just gonna let that shit go ahead and do its thing. Cause yeah, there's some bullshit. 22.5 years in prison, I might add. I'm sorry. But let's see what they're talking about.
He anxiously crowded around a loudspeaker.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months.
As the judge sentenced former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin to 22.5 years in prison for the murder of George Floyd.
I am not basing my sentence also on public opinion. I am not basing it on any attempt to send any messages.
I'm taking this as a win for my community right now.
We still feel empty today. We feel empty.
Prosecutors had asked for 30 years in prison. The defense wanted probation and time served, arguing Chauvin was the product of a broken system and had zero criminal history. With Chauvin looking on today, a powerful impact statement from Floyd's 7-year-old daughter, Gianna.
If you could say anything to your daddy right now, what would it be?
It would be, I miss you and I love you.
Floyd's nephew and brothers also addressed the court.
My family and I have been given a life sentence. We will never be able to get George back.
Then Chauvin's mother spoke publicly for the first time.
My son's identity has also been reduced to that as a racist. I want this court to know that none of these things are true.
Chauvin himself stood up.
I'm not able to give a full formal statement at this time. But very briefly, though, I do want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
For some members of Floyd's family, the sentence is not enough.
Is 22 and a half years enough?
That was not enough.
State guidelines recommended a sentence of 10 to 15 years for second-degree murder, but the judge said there were aggravating factors in this case, among them that Chauvin abused his authority as a police officer and that he killed Floyd in front of children.
It's unusual for a police officer to be convicted, much less get a sentence like this.
All right, so yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down, but yeah, man, I know like when it comes to like the Floyd family was saying that, like, you know, for them this isn't enough, and I can sympathize with that sentiment. I mean, they did lose a brother, they lost a father, they lost a cousin, they lost an uncle. So and they're filling that void within their family, right? But you know, I try to look at these things because I try to look at these things in a way where I want to have some perspective on this, right? Because and again, I talk about us celebrating our wins. You know, I remember when when Derek Chauvin was convicted, many people were talking about how, like, this wasn't enough. Like, he had just been convicted. And a lot of folks, man, were talking about something, well, let's see what the sentencing gonna be, right? Right? And so, you know, a lot of folks have, you know, kind of set themselves up to where, like, nothing for them would have been, you know, nothing short of the death penalty or life in prison would have been enough for a lot of folks, right? And I get it. But I also want us to understand, like, you know, the attitude towards policing and what police are able to kind of get away with and how far we've come in that space, right? So I think back to, like, I'm old enough to remember, like, Rodney King. And I'm old enough to remember, like, what happened when those 4 officers got off for the beating of Rodney King. And, you know, we saw that shit on video. They beat the brakes off of Rodney King, right? They moved that trial out of Los Angeles, moved it all the way out to Simi Valley, California, and they had like a majority white jury, and found all those cops not guilty of beating the fuck out of Rodney King, and we all saw the shit, right? Which resulted in the LA riots in 1991, 92, something like that. I might have been 11, 12 years old around that time, right? I remember that happening and riots coming out. Like, so, like, to go from us seeing instances like this and also seeing instances like George Floyd the motherfucker got off for killing Trayvon Martin, for the killer of Mike Brown to have gotten off for the killing of Mike Brown. Like, we've seen officers get off for these sorts of things. So when you see a police officer who has been given 22 years for the murder of George Floyd while he was on duty, that's a win, right? The 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd, that is a win. But not only that, think about this for a second. George Floyd, not George Floyd, but Derek Chauvin and the other officers who were involved in this particular incident are also going to face charges civically, right? There's civil charges that are coming up about violating George Floyd's civil rights. So they may face jail time on top of the jail time that he got for this. He may face jail time on top of that for violating that man's civil rights as well. So I don't think we will ever see Derek Chauvin I don't think Derek Chauvin ever sees the light of day. as a free person anymore. I think that dude is going to be, he's going to either do the rest of his life in prison, or maybe if they don't put that guy in protective custody, somebody in the prison may go ahead and do harm to that guy. Real talk. So, yeah, man, like I said, like, yo, like, I know that we don't want to get too high on things. And I think a lot of people are like they're trying to protect their feelings. They're trying to protect their emotions and stuff like that. And I get it. But like, yo, man, that's a win. That man got 22 and a half years, man. And I don't believe, and like I said, I don't believe that dude will ever see the light of day as a free man. I don't think he will ever see that light of day. I don't think that's ever going to happen if nothing happens to him while he's in there. Because I do believe that somebody on the inside will attempt to do something to to Derek Chauvin. I do that. I believe that, unless they put that guy in protective custody. So yeah, man, Derek Chauvin got 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. It's a win, man, and I will take it. Another story that we got here in the news is the fact that retail workers, man, have decided that, like, yo, man, retail ain't really for me no more, and they're quitting at record rates, and they going to like get into other fields that are paying them more motherfucking money. That wasn't exactly the one that I wanted, but it's more like
Got him!
Yeah. We get this here from the Boston Globe. It says retail workers drained from the pandemic and empowered by strengthening job market are leaving jobs like never before. Americans are ditching their jobs by the millions, and retail is leading the way with the largest increase in resignations of any sector. Some 649,000 retail workers put in their notice in April, the industry's largest one-month exodus since the Labor Department began tracking such data more than 20 years ago. Some are finding less stressful positions at insurance agencies, marijuana dispensaries, that's got to be the best one, banks, and local governments, where their customer service skills are rewarded with higher wages and better benefits. Others are going back to school to learn new trades or waiting until they are able to secure reliable childcare. It was a really dismal time, and it made me realize this wasn't worth it, said 23-year-old Allison Potts of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, who left her $11 an hour job as an aquatic specialist at a national pet chain in April to focus on writing and art. My life isn't worth a dead-end job. In interviews with more than a dozen retail workers who recently left their jobs, nearly all said the pandemic introduced new strains to already challenging work. Longer hours, understaffed stores, unruly customers, and even pay cuts. Christina Knowles spent much of the pandemic working the closing shift at a dollar store, sometimes 9 consecutive days without a break for $10.25 an hour. She felt isolated, anxious, and demoralized. Last month, the 34-year-old from Concord, North Carolina, quit, leaving the industry she worked for most of her adult life. Now she works at home for a local law firm, a job that in 3 days in seems too good to be true. There's a part of me that feels like this must all be a dream. There were a lot of things I liked about retail. I love talking to people and helping them, but the pandemic made me realize it was untenable. I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. There's a lot of people who work in retail who are just tired of dealing with people and their bullshit. Like I've said this on the show, man. Like let's be honest, man. A lot of people just ain't shit, man. A lot of people just ain't shit, and especially when they consider that there's a class differential between them and the people who are working in, even retail is like a service industry job. So people tend to have a certain attitude as though they're better than the people that are servicing them in these jobs. And you come into this store with these attitudes, like this person like has to treat you a certain way. And I get customer service, but then there's like being extra, right? And like people want to like kind of shit on people who work in the restaurant industry, who work in retail. My wife used to work retail, and I used to see the look on her face when she come home from work. Mad as hell. Tired of dealing with people in their shit. And so, like the fact that this pandemic has kind of reset some things, right? Because here's the thing. You got a lot of employers who are coming out talking about we have like a shortage of workers. We don't have enough people coming back into the workforce. Like, yeah, they're coming back into the workforce. They're just coming back in different capacities. They're in different industries. They're in places where they can make more money using the same set of skills that they had while they were working for you. They're working someplace else and they're making more money and getting treated better than they were when they were working for you. And a lot of places it's like, yo, we can't find anybody to come back to work, man. We can't open up because nobody wants to come back to work. No, they don't want to come back to work for you for the amount you paying them, right? And then they have to deal with everybody in their bullshit. How many times have we seen stories of people being treated real fucked up at a goddamn fast food restaurant, right? And people treat people like shit when you're working at a fast food restaurant. Trust me, I know, I used to work fast food. People treat you like shit when you work fast food, right? Service industry jobs, by and large, they treat you like shit. So the fact that, like, what the pandemic has done is that it has shifted the dynamic where the power differential is no longer just lying with the employers, because the employers are scrambling to try to get folks because they want to get back to the money, right? But the employees are like, well, I got some options here now. I might find myself working someplace else. I don't have to deal with that shit over there. And here, like, the shit that rubs me the wrong way is that, like, when I hear working class people, like people that I work with and stuff like that, where, like, they have this animosity towards the people who are exercising the options that are available to them. That's the thing that like really rubs me the wrong way. Like, you got people who believe that, yeah, these motherfuckers sitting on their ass, man, and they just trying to collect this unemployment, don't want to get back to work. It's like, bruh, if you had to deal with the bullshit that they had to deal with, would you really want to go back to work for them at that rate? Because that's the other part that, like, that just kind of gets lost in the sauce. You got a bunch of people who make more money than these people talking about how those folks don't want to go back to work. Like, nigga, if I had to deal with the bullshit that they're dealing with and to get paid the amount of money they getting paid, I wouldn't want to deal with that shit either. Our jobs sat us down for a month and a half, and they still paid us, and we were cool with that. I mean, you had a whole bunch of folks who were like, yo, man, I can't get my overtime, I can't get my bonuses and all this other shit. But you, like, yo, they paid you to sit the fuck down, like, sit at home, right? You were cool with that. You think that you wouldn't, like, that's the hypocrisy of it. Like, yo, your job told you to sit the fuck down, we will still pay you, just sit your ass down. And so you think that people wouldn't sit their ass down if the unemployment was giving them more money than their job was paying them? Are you out of fuck? Like, come on, man. Just, like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. So, yeah, man, the fact that, like, retail workers are finding out, like, yo, man, there's other industries that I can get into. I can utilize my skills to get more money, get better benefits. I might not necessarily want to go work at Target no more. I might not necessarily want to go work at Walmart no more. I might be good over here at the weed dispensary, but they paying me better and I can get high on the job. Right? So yeah, man, retail workers quitting at a record pace, and I'm gonna tell y'all this right now, man. I don't necessarily blame them. I don't blame them, right? Because they get treated bad at work, not only by the customers but by the employers as well. And people just getting sick of the shit, man. They're just getting sick of the shit. So yeah, man, that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news is Detroit, the Detroit area, the Detroit city specifically, has actually been deemed the most segregated city in America right now, man. Yeah, man, we get this story here. Let me pull this up. We get this story here. This comes from the Channel 7 ABC affiliate here in Detroit. So let me read this story here. It says Detroit is the most segregated city in the United States, according to a new study that was released Monday from the University of California, Berkeley's Othering and Belonging Institute. The report, titled The Roots of Structural Racism, found that 169 out of 209 metro areas in the U.S. have increased their levels of segregation between 1990 and 2019. According to the report, Detroit ranks as the most segregated city with populations of more than 200,000 in the U.S. with an 84% divergence index. The divergence index, according to the Institute, compares the relative proportions of racial groups or any other groups at smaller and larger geographies, looking for the degree of divergence between the two geographies. The report also compares the difference in income and poverty levels, home values, life expectancy, and rent prices between highly segregated communities of color, highly segregated white areas, and integrated areas. Segregated white regions turned out best, while segregated black and brown communities fared the worst, according to the report. Although the American public has much greater awareness of the reality of systemic racial inequity, too few people understand that racial residential segregation lies at the heart of this inequality. Stephen Menendin, the lead author of the project, said, "This is evidenced by how residential segregation determines access to schools, healthy neighborhoods, jobs, and surveillance by the police. According to the study, Black or Hispanic people who grew up in segregated white neighborhoods found their incomes higher than those in communities of color. An interactive map that shows different regions show that the Metro Detroit area, Ann Arbor, Flint, Saginaw, Grand Rapids, and more areas have a high segregation level. No counties or areas in the state are racially integrated. Detroit's Black population today stands at about 78%, the highest proportion of any city in the United States. In contrast, the metro areas, including Detroit, is only 23% Black and 68% white, making Detroit the most segregated city in the United States. Now, I'm going to just say this here right now, man. For years, Chicago held this designation, right? I grew up in Chicago. I mean, I got split, like, I born in Chicago, spent a lot of my years in Chicago. Been here in Detroit for quite some time, right? Been here in Detroit for quite a bit. And Chicago held that designation. And one of the things that, like, it's been real interesting, like, to listen to people talk about, like, critical race theory, because, and we're going to get into some of that shit later on in the show too. But, like, listening to people talk about critical race theory and how they don't want to sit, and how they conflate critical race theory with, like, the study of, like, history and, like, America and everything else. I remember before I bought my house, I was reading this book called The Color of Law. And in The Color of Law, they were talking about how the racial covenants that were being made. As a matter of fact, they kind of elucidated on this in the show Them on Amazon. So you can go ahead and check that out also, right? But they were talking about how, like, when it came to Black people looking for upward mobility and looking to, like, kind of live and, like, grow their families and things like that, when they were looking for home ownership, that they were, like, being designated to live in certain areas of the city, right? So, like, I know we're talking about Detroit, but I can remember, like, they talking about Chicago in the sense that, like, yo, you had a bunch of people who were coming up from the South, from, like, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and places like that. They were coming up to Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, New York. The Great Migration was happening. You had a whole bunch of people who were coming up from down south. They were working in the steel mills. They were working in the stockyards and everything else. And they were being designated to live in certain areas of the city, right? Because white people refuse to live around Black folks. They just refuse, right? And so, what happened was, when you concentrate all of these people who have nothing by and large, right? Who have to kind of make a way out of no way. When you concentrate all of these people in these areas, and then you kind of, like, shut off other areas of the city, it's by design that these cities and these metropolitan areas are segregated. And the thing is, despite the time and the years that have been separated from us and these particular racial covenants and everything else when it came to housing, a lot of these things are still with us today. A lot of these patterns are still with us today, which is why it's ironic that the Republican Party is, like, really, like, trying to paint anything that, like, talks about the history of the American experience for Black folks or brown folks or anybody else who isn't white. Try to, like, just kind of, like, demonize that as critical race theory and is being taught in schools and all this other bullshit. But, like, yo, the fact that Detroit now is the most segregated city in the country doesn't surprise me. Because you got, especially if you're from this area and you, like, just even when you, like, just, like, on some unscientific shit, if you talk about the city of Detroit on, like, a Facebook news post, you could tell the people who have the most shit to talk about Detroit don't live in Detroit. Very seldom have a really good attitude about the city of Detroit. Now, I just talked about how, like, a lot of the things that are going on in Detroit that I enjoyed last week for my birthday, like, a lot of these things are happening right there in the heart, in downtown Detroit. Like, there's a lot of things that are available to Detroiters that a lot of Detroiters might not even necessarily be aware of. But, like, the fact that, like, you have so many people who have such a negative view of the city core, but they're out on the outskirts, right? So it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all that Detroit is segregated as a city like Chicago. As a matter of fact, in this particular study, I believe Chicago was, like, the 4th most segregated city. It wasn't even, like, the 1st anymore. But, like, the fact that, like, these when we start talking about segregation and we start talking about how folks were coming to the North for kind of get away from that Southern racism, the fact that shit was still here in the North, and it still persists to this day. You know what I mean? it's something that, you know, like as we deal with the racial reckoning and we start dealing with these social, you know, these social, political, and historical issues in a time like we have today. Yeah, man, it doesn't surprise me, but it does surprise me. If that makes any sense. So yeah, man, that's in the news. Another story that we got here in the news is, yo, man, apparently your employer can and will enforce whether or not you should have to whether or not you should have the COVID-19 vaccine, man. All right, we get the story here. This also comes out of the ABC affiliate here in Detroit, WXYZ.com. It says, is there a video attached to this? There is a video attached to this. So let me go ahead and pull this video up so I don't have to read this shit. All right. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it right along with your man Spann. Hold on just a second while I pull this video up. All right, let's do that right there. And let's do that. All right, let's see what they're talking about. Here we go.
Places around the country are opening up once again.
But the rules that some employers have put into place requiring vaccines that are still not fully authorized by the FDA have sparked showdowns with employees. In fact, lawsuits have been filed against a Texas hospital, a Los Angeles school district, a North Carolina sheriff, a New Mexico detention center, to name a few.
Meantime, while the number of people getting vaccinated continues to rise, the number of people refusing to get a shot is holding strong. In fact, that number has held near 13% since December. That's according to the Kaiser Foundation.
Here in Michigan, state workers are not required to get vaccinated before returning to the office.
But that doesn't mean private companies will not mandate it. And while you do have the right to refuse the vaccine, it could come at a hefty cost.
In tonight's in-depth report, 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig looks past the debate and into your rights.
We're seeing more cases around the country where people are risking their jobs when it comes to saying no to the COVID vaccine. We're talking to a civil rights and employment attorney about what you need to know.
And this is a new issue. It's not like tried and true and we're used to this. It's like, wait a minute, this is a medical procedure. How is it you're making me get a shot in my arm? So it does strike some people innately like, I shouldn't have to do this.
And one does not have to get a vaccine against COVID-19, but there can be consequences. This week at Houston Methodist, 153 employees, including nurses at the Texas hospital, were fired or resigned after refusing to get vaccinated.
Don't take away my choice. You're not going to turn away a patient and give them care if they don't have a vaccine. You know, don't take away my choice.
That's bullshit. All right? That is complete and utter bullshit. They didn't take away your choice. You made a fucking choice, right? You made a choice. So here's the thing, and I guess I could probably just like scrap that whole next segment I had because they actually talked about this on this video and I didn't know it. But like, yo, she's talking about don't take away my choice. Like, you made a choice. You knew what the consequences of said choice was. Like, hey, listen, we need you to get this vaccination if you're gonna work for us. If you don't want to work for, if you don't want to get this vaccination, chances are you will no longer work for us anymore. The choice is now, do I get this shot and keep my job, or do I not get this shot and I go have to work someplace else? I got to find someplace else to work. That is the choice. They did not take your choice away from you. And so, like, you got a whole bunch of people who are out here walking around right now talking about their choice, my body, my choice. I'm like, okay, you can make the choice. But if you want to work for us, you need to go ahead and get this shot, especially like a hospital system, right? So like I talked about this when this particular hospital, Houston Methodist, when they first came out with this shit, when these 153 people were talking about, they had a lawsuit. They were like they start talking about how like it's only FDA approved for emergencies, this, that, and the other. It doesn't have the full FDA designation for like approval and all this other shit. It's like, okay, so once it gets that, then what? What is your thing then? So now you're gonna be like, oh, well, no, I mean, we need like 4-5 years more time in order for us to figure out the long-term effects of what this vaccination can do. Okay, so how about you are willing to possibly catch COVID and not know what the long-term effects of catching COVID could be, but you are also willing to risk other people's health because you decided that you didn't want to take the shot. Meanwhile, you're working in a medical facility where you're trying to keep people from contracting this very fucking disease. Right? At a certain point, when you start talking about your body, your choice, when it's affecting other people, hey man, that's some bullshit. They're trying to co-opt the language of the pro-abortion movement or the pro-choice movement. They're trying to like adopt that language in order to like kind of make it seem innocuous. But nah, man, your choice affects a hell of a lot more people other than you. And if you're working in a hospital system, say you go to the hospital, man, you assume, and a lot of folks would assume that the people who are working there have been vaccinated against some shit. And you catch it from fucking staff, not from like somebody who's in the room with you. No, they do the contact tracing. You caught it from staff, and then you find out later the staff was like, man, I don't know if I trust that vaccine or not. Nigga, I'm suing the fucking hospital because now you got this reckless motherfucker treating me, and now I got this extra fucking maybe what's that? What they call it? What's that shit in Obamacare? A pre-existing condition. Now I got a pre-existing condition because this motherfucker decided that he didn't want to go ahead and take the vaccine when he could have, and he had access. A lot of people was not taking it before because they didn't have access. You got motherfuckers who got access and are dealing with people in the public who are vulnerable. And you talking about your choice being taken away from you. That's bullshit. Your choice wasn't taken away from you. They gave you a choice and you made one. Now deal with that damn decision.
In Ann Arbor, Michigan Medicine is not requiring their employees to get vaccinated. The same for Beaumont Health, because the FDA has only approved the COVID-19 vaccine under emergency use.
Because the FDA has not taken that last step to remove this emergency authorization, the government is not out there forcing its employees to get the vaccine.
But what if you work for a private company and your boss says you have to get the shot? Employment and civil rights attorney Deborah Gordon.
Yes, your private employer can say to you, you must have a vaccine to work here. You must show proof of a vaccine to work here.
We put the question out on Facebook. Do you think it's okay for certain employers to require vaccinations and/or masks? One person wrote, if you don't like job policies, then you can always work somewhere else. Another person said, no, at this point it should be voluntary if you want to or not. Personal decision.
I think a lot of people are going to be freestyling it because some people just don't want to get the vaccine, and there's going to be pushback.
And some companies might not want to risk losing any workers, like the Houston hospital.
Employers are getting to make their own choices on this, but don't forget employers have the other side of the coin. They have people who are vaccinated who don't want to work with non-vaccinated people.
But what if you're...
Hold on, here's another question. Here's another point that I kind of wanted to make on this too, right? So, here in Michigan, and I know this is something that happens in a lot of different places across the country. We talk about workers' rights, and one of the things I've Michigan here is like a right to work state, and I think a lot of states now like right to work states or whatever, where essentially if you're in a right to work state, you can go and you can even work in a place that has like a union shop, like a union normally. Like if you're gonna work in this place, you gotta join a union and everything else. Where now, like what the Republicans have kind of pushed forward was, hey, you don't have to join the union. You can go ahead, you can work there, and then you can get all the benefits of working for the union. However, you don't have to pay into the union, right? Kind of gutting like employee rights and whatever else, right? Because essentially what they're trying to do is bankrupt the union so that they can't necessarily negotiate on your behalf, and they can't lobby on your behalf as a union. They can't. They're really trying to like kind of bankrupt what the union operations could be. But you got a lot of people who voted for this sort of legislation. You got a lot of people who don't necessarily understand that while they were mad at the unions, they were also gutting their own employee rights. Right now, I'm saying this as someone who is pro-vaccine, who is saying that like, yo, man, if you're going to be working in certain fields, if you're going to be working in a front and facing position where you have to deal with other people, you should probably have that vaccine up in you, right? But you got a lot of people who are talking about it's my right and these jobs are trampling over my rights. Meanwhile, if you'd have had a union, if you hadn't voted for candidates who were talking about gutting the union, maybe you would have somebody who would advocate on your behalf even for this bullshit. And I'm saying it as somebody who is pro-vaccination. Y'all been out here voting to spite yourself. Like you fucking cutting off your nose to spite your face. Maybe you would have had a stronger position, maybe, if you hadn't have necessarily voted for policies and politicians who were trying to gut fucking workers' rights from the very jump. Now you're dealing with the consequences of that. You're dealing with the consequences of that. Now, I'm not saying this to say that, like, yo, people shouldn't get the vaccine. I'm saying I'm pro-vaccination. But just think about that for a second. Y'all been out here voting for these politicians who were talking about, you know, workers' rights and right to work and all this other shit. Meanwhile, they've been gutting your shit on the flip side of it. And now you out here with your dick in your hand, like, don't know what the fuck to do because you out of the job because you got a belief in shit, and now your belief done got you out of work. And like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But yo, man, that's been the motherfucking news, yo. Yeah, man, and like they said that piece, like the EEOC has said that, like, yo, it is legal for your private company to mandate whether or not you get the vaccine or not. So not only is the Houston Methodist hospital system free to do this, but a lot of y'all who are out here talking about some y'all don't want to get this vaccine, a lot of y'all will be facing this decision as to whether or not, like, you gonna either get the shot or find some other place to work, because that shit's coming, man. It's coming. Like, and people don't want to either work. What's going to happen is this: people ain't going to want to work with y'all, or people ain't going to want to be serviced by y'all because they don't want to get sick by y'all. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So, yeah, that's what it was. But, yo, it's time for Blue Blazers, y'all.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
This nigga just say Blue Blazers.
All right. Y'all know what it is. It's Blue Blazers time. And our first story here in Blue Blazers, man, has to deal with one Azalea Banks. Now, y'all know, man, Azalea Banks, your man Spann, ain't necessarily a big fan. Me and Azalea Banks had a little back and forth on Twitter some years ago. Real talk, like, it was crazy because I only said what I thought was common knowledge, was that, like, yo, the only time I've ever hear Azalea Banks' name is when it's involved in some bullshit, not necessarily because of how talented she is musically. And, you know, she took offense to that shit. I mean, but I feel like your man Spann was speaking the truth. I mean, the only time I ever hear Azalea Banks' name is because it's involved with some bullshit. Not necessarily because of how well she sings or how great her music is. That's just what it is, right? And she's always on social media. She got banned from Twitter. I mean, come on. She got fucking banned from Twitter. However, she got into it with one Candace Owens. Now, Candace Owens is another very problematic motherfucking figure. Candace Owens is a conservative firebrand, a grifter, so to speak. I feel like Candace Owens is a mix between GOP black chick, Crystal Wright. I remember back when she was, like, kind of prominent in that space. She was the one black conservative that they would continuously put on television. You very seldom see her on TV much anymore. I don't think she's on Twitter anymore either. I think she just kind of, like, went by the wayside. But she's like kind of a mix between a Crystal Wright, GOP black chick, and Ann Coulter. Right, Ann Coulter, who is a well-known conservative commentator, author. She would go on Bill Maher's show quite often, says a lot of incendiary things. And I think a lot of times she says incendiary things because controversy fucking sells. And the more that you can upset people, the more people will interact with you with this, that, and the other. And it's part of the reason why Candace Owens is so polarizing and so and gets the needle moving on social media, is because she goes out there and she says ridiculous shit all the time. Right? And she says it for a certain audience. Here's the rub. There's a lot of black conservatives who are a little sick and tired of, like, Candace Owens and shit. I've been reading up a little bit, man. Black conservatives is upset, man. And they ain't really fucking with Candace Owens either. They're like, yo, man, she the one that they keep putting in front of people. Right? This is what the black conservatives are saying. They're like, yo, man, Candace Owens is the black conservative they keep putting in front of people, but she is talking to black people. She's talking to white people, which is like, duh. Right? Duh. Candace Owens makes racists feel comfortable about the racist ideas and shit that they say. That's what her and she's found a lane for her to make money in that way. So it wasn't surprising to anybody with a fucking brainstem, to see that Candace Owens was out here talking shit about the Juneteenth holiday, right? So we get this story here from complex.com because Azalea Banks apparently went in on Candace Owens for the fact that she was calling Juneteenth a lame fucking holiday, man.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, so we read the story. Like I said, this comes out of Complex. It says, if there's anyone fit to shut down conservative pundits, it's Azalea Banks. I don't know about that, but all right. After Candace Owens, an author and host known for her pro-Trump activism fused with Cardi B and dismissal of they-them pronouns, decided to critique Juneteenth becoming a national holiday as of this week, when President Joe Biden signed it into law, Banks wasn't going to let her go quietly. Juneteenth is so lame, the pundit said. Democrats really need to stop trying to repackage segregation. I'll be celebrating July 4th and July 4th only. I'm American. The holiday itself, of course, falls on the day Black Americans in Texas were liberated 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and the rapper wanted to make that clear. According to this logic, on July 4, 1776, you would still be enslaved, Banks wrote on an Instagram in a since deleted post. Most likely on the verge of starvation due to all of America's food supply having been prioritized for the war, while you hand sew American flags and struggle to wet nurse some depressed 24-year-old white widow's sickly child until your nipples are chapped and dry. Whereafter you will be whipped by her 80-year-old uncle for your own malnourishment and inability to produce milk, and then sent to toil over a wood-burning stove, blistering your hands while being forced to make a peasantly meal of biscuits and gravy. She continued, wishing Owens a happy Independence Day, and shared that she'd be watching closely by her irate, sunburned, and whiskey-soaked 80-year-old uncle to be sure you do not sneak a single biscuit or fingerful of roux for yourself. After you watched everyone eat, you will be sent to the cleaning up. You'll be sent to do the cleaning up, Banks continued. Your last task will be brushing and the stressed and balding white widow's hair to prepare for her sleeping bonnet, a deep rest in her comfortable canopy bed. Next, your final descent down the stairs and out the back door, where you proudly sleep on a bed-bug infested pile of hay in a 6x4 cabin you share with 4 other slaves. Now, sounds like a novel. Sounds like a novel. But truthfully speaking, this is a case of pot, meat, broken kettle. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, pot, meat, broken clock, right? Because even a broken clock could be right twice a day, but also both of these motherfuckers be on some bullshit, right? So it's like, she's right, but did it have to be her? You know what I mean? Like, she's right, but it's her, because she be on bullshit too. So it's like, broken clock meet kettle, or pot meets broken clock. However the fuck, like you know, like when your brain, like, you think your brain might explode when you see, like, oh shit, like it was that was dope, but it was Azalea Banks, and like it was Candace Owens, and like I don't fuck with either one of them, but fuck, right? Fuck. But yeah, man. Again, Candace Owens, her audience isn't black people. That's the thing. That's the thing I think a lot of people have to understand. Candace Owens' audience isn't black people. Candace Owens goes on her show, goes on anybody else's show who books her. Candace Owens goes on these shows to make white racists feel comfortable saying the bullshit that they say about black people. That is her grift. That is how she makes her fucking money. She goes on television, she goes on social media, and she throws bombs. And she throws bombs that she knows will either trigger the libs or amplify white racists. And she gets paid either way. Right? So at a certain point, like, I'm of the mind of like, yo, I don't necessarily want to highlight Candace Owens a lot of times, because I know that, like, you know, in talking about her, like, it kind of drives that whole thing, right? It kind of drives that whole machine and everything else. But also, it's like, it's the catch-22 of, do you ignore this and allow this sort of shit to just kind of sit out there and not be refuted? Or do you just, like, kind of attack it, and then the people who were, like, you know, the people who were going to eat that up anyway are going to continuously eat that up. it's like that. It's a catch-22, and so yeah, man. Like Candace Owens, the fact that this ain't even about Candace right now. Like the both of them. Like I said, the both of them are fucking problematic as fuck. But like the fact that it was Azalea Banks the one, like Azalea Banks got her together. Like, wait, who? Right? So yeah, man. That's in Blue Blazers, man. Fucking pot me broken clock, man. Because even a broken clock can be right twice a day, man. And right now in this particular instance, I think Azalea Banks is that broken clock. So there you go. We got another story here. This actually comes out of Detroit too. So there was a woman who has been gambling quite big. She's a high roller apparently. She went on the BetMGM app and won like $3 million from the BetMGM app. Thing is, MGM is deciding that they ain't gonna pay out her money. As a matter of fact, they gave her $100,000 and told her to fucking scram. And there's video attached to this, so let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second. Let me do this here. Let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with me. And here we go. Wait, that's not it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me do this here. I thought I had it already. Okay. Here we go. Let's see.
Yeah, Hugh, MGM is saying that a glitch kept this Detroit woman from cashing in on millions of dollars in winnings. And now she is betting on a lawsuit to get her winnings. Like what, did you play a particular number?
Pretty much every number on the table.
Jacqueline Davis from Detroit says she's a gambler and recently got hooked on internet betting, specifically BetMGM. And it's St. Patrick's Day luck of the roulette game.
I was losing a lot, but I was also winning a lot.
And Jacqueline started on March 18th and played for 5 straight days? And you started off with what kind of bet?
$50.
And then you gradually increased it to?
The max on the table was $5,000.
Oh, and winning money Jacqueline was. In fact, within the course of those 5 days, she was up and down over $11 million. But when she finally decided to stop, she was ahead.
When it got to the 3, I just wanted to start withdrawing.
Okay. This is where I was like, hold up. You got up to $11 million fucking dollars, and you didn't decide to walk away then? Like, yo, man, like, I'm not a gambler, so, like, for all the gamblers who may be listening to the sound of my voice right now, help me understand this right now. You started off with $50. You got up to $11 million. $11 million. That's retirement kind of money right there. You know what? I can stop right now. My life is set. Like, this is how I'm thinking, right? $11 million, time for me to walk away. You kept going till you lost $8 million. This is how I know your sister got to be a high roller, man. She lost $8 million and was like, nah, I guess I'll walk away with the 3. Nigga, what? Like, are you fucking serious right now? She walked away. But the story continues, but this is where I was like, yo, man, I'd have walked away with the 11. I got a coworker, man. He be on these motherfucking, like, casino apps and shit like that, man. He be talking about some, man, I was up by $5,000, but then, like, I kind of went down and, like, I walked away with 500. Like, nigga, but you was up 5 G's. Why the fuck didn't you stop? Like the gambling. Like, help me understand. Like, for all of y'all who may be into the gambling apps and shit like that, please write in, call in, however the fuck. Help me understand when you up like that, why you won't walk away from that sort of shit.
That 3 is more than $3 million of winnings. So at the end of March, Jacqueline goes to MGM here in Detroit to get $100,000 advance on her winnings. Well, they give her $100,000 in cash. She goes back the next day to get more money, and MGM says, no, you're not getting any more money.
They're claiming there was a glitch in the game.
A glitch? Jacqueline's lawyer, David Steingold, says even if there was a glitch, that's not a defense. And anyway, MGM should have checked it.
And they were instructed by regulation to check this every single night.
Every 24 hours this has to be checked?
Every 24 hours. And my client played for 5 straight days.
And Steingold questions the glitches and wants to find out how much BetMGM actually made on the luck of the roulette.
In other words, did everybody who lost money get their money back?
Some might say that you knew the game was broken. Did you?
How would I?
Because you're winning all the time.
Well, I mean, that's the purpose of gambling. You're playing to win.
Right? You playing to win. You playing to win, but you had 11. You walking away with like that's the thing. Like she got $100,000. MGM is telling her that, yo, take this $100 and get the fuck out of our face right now, right? But they made a really good point in the sense that like they were like, yo, man, they gave her $100,000. They are acknowledging the fact that she won some money, like she won. But the whole thing about it was a glitch in the system. Like, so when I lose, is that a glitch too, or do y'all just keep my motherfucking money? And this is part of the reason why, like, the whole like I remember when these apps and shit started really like advertising real big. I was annoyed as fuck with a lot of these, and I also understood like there was a lot of people who gonna find themselves in some trouble with these sorts of apps and shit. I talked about a coworker of mine who like he told us he was up like $5,000 and he kept playing and he ended up walking away with like, I forget, was it $50 or some shit like that. However the fuck, it was a lot less than the $5,000 he told us he was up, right? And he decided he was gonna keep playing. But you're gonna have a whole bunch of people who feel like they can just like they can like, you know, make more than they already got. It's like, yo, man, like you pushing your luck. Like you pushing it right now. And like all of these apps, even fucking Fox Sports has a sports book app. Like you got FanDuel, all these casinos. You got casinos I ain't never even fucking heard of advertising commercials here now. They worse than the goddamn political ads, man. Like at a certain point, like this shit is addictive. And like that's the thing that I think is kind of getting lost in this entire story. Like, yeah, she won $11 million. She got like she decided to walk away at $3 million. She's only walking away right now with $100,000. She may end up getting a bit more money because again, I think MGM acknowledged that she won something. But like, yeah, I want y'all to be careful. I want y'all to be careful with these apps, man, because like to hear like the numbers being tossed around here, like, yo, man, you walked away with like you could have won $11 million and you kept playing till you lost $8 million. Like I guess it all depends on where you are financially and shit like that. And I'm not one to count motherfuckers' pockets, but I'm just saying if I was up $11 million, I would probably be like, you know what, it's time for me to roll. Time for me to roll, man. So yeah, man, the fact that like MGM decided that they were gonna give her $100,000, they acknowledged that she won something, but she should probably be getting a hell of a lot more than $100,000. And we got some comments here in the chat room. Net's in the chat room. She's like, yeah, right. Just stop playing. Like I would have stopped playing when I was up to like, nigga, hold up. Am I dreaming, nigga? I'm up $11 million. $11 million, nigga. I'm about to retire. I'm about to tell my job, man, y'all can kiss my ass. Y'all done seen the last of your boy Spann up in here. I'm about to let my body recover. I'm about to go out here and travel the world and shit. I'm about to go out here and do my podcast and shit full time. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to do the shit I want to do. But nah, man, she kept playing and she got down to 3 and she walked away, but then they gave her $100,000 and told her to scram. And Clove is in the chat room. He says, boom, pay her. They need to pay this woman, right? They gave her $100,000. They acknowledged that she won something, but to try to like to put this off as like it was a glitch in the system, like nah, bruh. Because if I lose, y'all sure as hell ain't about to be attributing that shit to a glitch. So go ahead and give her the goddamn money, man. But yo, that's in Blue Blazers, man. Another story that we got here in Blue Blazers, and this shit is also happening in Detroit. There's a lot of Detroit like centric stories and shit. I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm saying a lot of crazy shit happening here in the city of Detroit. But so this next story that we got here has to do with the fact that like, so there was this guy who went to the mall, went to the bathroom in the mall, and somebody decided to take his picture while he was using the bathroom in the mall. The peeping Tom got his ass whooped for taking a picture of that man while he was using the bathroom in the mall.
Got him! Got him!
I feel like the guy who came out of the stall when he found out somebody like took his picture while he was using the bathroom just walked out of that bitch like,
I kill everybody up in this motherfucker.
Real talk. So I get this story here. This comes out of clickondetroit.com. This is the NBC affiliate here in Detroit. It says a man accused of taking photographs in a men's bathroom at Somerset Collection was taken into police custody June 17th after being beaten by the victim, police said. According to authorities, at about 4:10 p.m., Troy police officers responded to reports of a fight that was in progress. Somerset Collection security officers arrived before police and were able to stop the altercation. Police said that the victim was using the restroom when he saw a phone held over the bathroom stall that took several photos of his exposed genitals. Authorities said he grabbed the phone and demanded the suspected cameraman to come out of the bathroom stall. When he refused, police said the victim left the men's bathroom and waited on the other side. He waited for the other man to emerge. Police said when the suspected cameraman left the bathroom, the victim began punching him. Like, hold up. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So when you in the bathroom after this sort of thing, right? Do you delete the pictures you took of this dude? You know what I'm saying? Do you delete those? Do you think this nigga just like, you know, he just got over it and left? You know what I'm saying? Do you think he just like, you know what I mean? Well, all right, I guess I dodged that bullet. Let me go on outside. Oh, man, that was close. Boom, bing, 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 bing. Right? You know, he got his ass whooped. Said, police said when the suspected cameraman left the bathroom, the victim began punching him. When the police arrived, they were able to view the phone and determine he had used it to take photographs of the victim. So apparently he didn't use that time to delete them pictures. The suspect, a 28-year-old man from Lake Orion, was arrested and charged with using a computer in the commission of a crime and capturing an image of an unclothed person. So yeah, man, he got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped. Has justice ever been meted out so swiftly? You know what I mean? Has anyone ever had their justice move? Like you was trying to look at my man Twigs and Berries, and you got that 2-piece in the biscuit. I mean, I'm just saying, man. Got the 2-piece in the biscuit after looking at Twigs and Berries. But, you know, that's what it was. It happened in Detroit, and that has been Blue Blazers.
What in blue blazes is going on out here?
Did this nigga just say Blue Blazers?
But y'all know what time it is.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't.
That's enough of that shit. It's proud to be an American time here at the Spann Report podcast. And before we get to proud to be an American, shout out to Annette, because Annette's like, peeping time won't be peeping no more. Man, that nigga gotta look past his black eyes, man. It's just swole up. He can't see shit. Oh man, he can't see shit. He got his motherfucking shit rocked, man. He came out that bathroom, pink, pink, pink. Indeed, man, indeed. But yo, man, that's what it is. He got what he deserved. Ain't nobody feeling sorry for the motherfucking peeping Tom. That's for goddamn sure. But yo, man, it's proud to be an American time. And our first story here, and proud to be an American, has to deal with the fact that, like, yo, man, we still, like, you know, for all the talk about, you know, America and, you know, critical race theory and all this other shit, man. Sometimes, man, the shit, like, better yet, not even critical race theory. They're, like, I remember, I'm old enough to remember when people would say shit like, you know, we just have to wait the races out. You know, they're just going to die off and shit. You know, the next generation is going to be a lot greater than the one that came before it. And we just got to wait for the races to die off and all this other shit, right? But that was some of the most naive ass shit I think I've probably ever heard. Only because, like, you think that racist people don't teach racist ideology to their children, right? In much the same ways that we try to affirm our kids, and much the same way that we try to, like, uplift our children, you think that racists aren't teaching their kids the racist ideologies that they believe. And a lot of these kids don't necessarily believe the things that they believe are racist because this is what they know, right? And so we get this story here. This let me pull this up. This story here, this comes out of Minnesota. This was the hotbed of the racial reckoning from last year, where George Floyd was kneeled on for more than 9 minutes, where racial unrest was happening all over the country as a result of this particular incident, where they decided that at some point they may even try defunding the police, all these other things, right? Well, apparently, one young little white girl, 9 years old, decided that she was going to confront her her school board for having Black Lives Matter posters posted up inside her school.
And that'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
Yeah. 9 years old. She decided she was going to confront the school board over the fact that they had Black Lives Matter posters installed in schools. So let me go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing. Let me do this here real quick. Pull this up for you guys, and we can watch this shit as a family. But yo, check this out, y'all. Let me go ahead and pull that up and do this here.
Here again. The other day I was walking down the hallway at Lakeview Elementary School to give a teacher a retiring gift. I looked up onto the wall and saw a BLM poster and an Amanda Gorman poster. In case you don't know who that chick is, she's some girl who did a poem at Biden's so-called inauguration. I was so mad. I was told
Biden's so-called inauguration. She was so mad.
2 weeks ago at this very meeting spot, no politics in school. I believed what you said at this meeting. So at lunch I went up to my principal to tell him about the BLM poster and that I wanted it down. He said it's not coming down. I was like, yeah, it is, because the school board said on May 25th, no BLM or politics in school. He said, that's weird. They were the ones who made them. I was stunned. When I was here 2 weeks ago, you told us to report any BLM in our schools. Apparently, you know they're in our schools because you made the signs. I said there should be no BLM in schools, period. It does not matter the color you make the posters and the font you use. We all understand the meaning. It is a political message about getting rid of police officers, rioting, burning buildings down while King Governor Welch just sits on his throne and watches.
Yeah, this kid watches OAN. This kid watches Fox News. This kid is reading from The Blaze. This kid is reading from she watches what's that dude's name? Louder with Crowder. She's probably a really big Candace Owens fan, right? She's 9 years old, bruh. 9 years old. She is upset that there's a Black Lives Matter poster in her school. And this is her idea of what Black Lives Matter means. That this is about defunding the police, about rioting and all this other shit. Not about the fact that, like, yo, man, we just really want the police to stop killing black people who ain't got no damn weapons on them. Right?
We all know. Changing the font or the color of posters does not change the meaning. I am 9 years old and I know that. You expect me to believe that you did not know what you were doing by making these posters? Come on, people. I do not judge people by the color of their skin. I don't really care what color their hair, skin, or eyes is. I judge by the content or the way they treat me.
See, this is the other part, right? A lot of racist white people love to quote Dr. King, especially that one particular quote by Dr. King. Judge people by the content of the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Like they really they latch on to that particular part of the I Have a Dream speech, but they don't necessarily teach like the real Dr. King, man. When Dr. King was talking about, you know, we coming for our check, you know what I mean? Like when Dr. King talking about you know, like when he really started trying to bring people together with the Poor People's Campaign and the fact that he was killed right before the Poor People's March on Washington, right? The Dr. King was not necessarily a very popular person within the United States of America when he was killed, right? There was a whole bunch of people who were like Dr. King's message at a certain point was starting to wane. Like people weren't necessarily like feeling Dr. King at that point. Like we've kind of like angelicized Dr. King now. Like we've Dr. King is damn near an American saint now, right? And even the people who advocate against the things that Dr. King would be for can't wait to like use a Dr. King quote to kind of cloak the bullshit they are trying to promote. So it doesn't surprise me that this little girl would try to like, you know, quote a Dr. King because she's heard this shit from her parents, which means, like I said, like when we start talking about, you know, racism, you know, we gotta wait for the racists to like kind of die off and all this other shit. No, they indoctrinate their kids in much the same way that we try to uplift ours. This shit isn't like, this is the thing that like you hope that more and more people would teach their children valuable life lessons, that more and more people would teach their children more progressive things, not the bullshit that this little girl is learning. Now, the thing is, she's 9 years old. I'm not even mad at this 9-year-old because I know where it comes from. A 9-year-old doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. It's the parents of this kid. And you can hear it dripping all over this fucking statement. And this is why, like, you know, when people start talking about, like, yo, we America getting to a point of post-racialism and all this other things, like, I'm very pessimistic about that because this kid's 9 years old. She gonna have to figure out, like, some type of way, somebody else is gonna have to be able to reach this kid to tell her that a lot of the shit that's coming out of her mouth right now is bullshit. And it ain't gonna be her parents. And those are the most influential people she should have in her life anyway.
MLK said, I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That dream has come true. I do not care or look at the color of skin, but you make me think of it. I have Asian, Mexican, white, Chinese, black friends, and I don't care. I like them because some of them make me laugh, some are sweet and kind, sporty, or share the love of God. They are just my friends. You have lied to me, and I am very disappointed in all of you. You cannot even follow your own rules. If you're going to do that, why do we follow any rules we deemed unfit or ridiculous? I'm not following your mask rule anymore then. Get the posters out of our schools.
I'm not following your mask rules anymore. Again, that is her parents talking. That is her parents talking right now.
Courage is contagious, so be courageous.
All right. So, yeah, man. When you have, you know, it's America. It's America, man. You know, like, you just gotta kind of get like we're Americans, and this is what Americans do. So, like, I'm not even surprised, bro. I'm just more so sad. I'm more so sad than anything else for this kid, you know. But yo, somebody said, hold on a minute, hold on. She's gonna end up getting scoop slammed during recess. Listen, Craig, come on, man. Come on, man. We can't be out here advocating for the kids to be out here scoop slamming people, man. Like, nah, it may happen, but I'm just saying, real talk. Like, I'm just sad for the idea of like this kid going before a public forum in this way, spouting this level of bullshit, man. And like, you know, this isn't coming from the kid; it's coming from the parents. The parents are the ones who are telling these kids this sort of bullshit. And like, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. It's her fucking parents, man. Real talk. But, yo, we got another story here. Proud to be an American. And this story has to do with one Ron Johnson. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with who Ron Johnson is a senator from the state of Wisconsin. Ron Johnson was a senator who prevented the holiday of Juneteenth from happening on a national level last year. Well, apparently Ron Johnson, after dropping his objection to Juneteenth becoming a national holiday, decided that he was going to observe Juneteenth with black people in Milwaukee after he had lifted his fucking objection. And the shit didn't go well, man. As a matter of fact, them niggas wasn't exactly happy to see Ron Johnson while he was in the damn Juneteenth parade, bro. Yeah, they wasn't fucking with Ron Johnson. They was not fucking with him, not one bit. So we pulled this story up. This comes out of WISN News, and there's video attached to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with me. But they was booing this nigga, man. They was booing Ron Johnson, and rightfully so, because Ron Johnson is being disingenuous as fuck. Ron Johnson is one of these people who's talking about, had the January 6th insurrection happen with Black Lives Matter, he would have been more afraid for his life because, you know, they were Black Lives Matter and Antifa. But he wasn't necessarily afraid because, you know, these were Trump supporters who were attacking the fucking Capitol and screaming that they wanted to hang the vice president and all this other shit. So let me pull this up and you guys can watch right along with your boy. Hold on just a second come on, man, share. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's see what's going on here.
Just days after dropping his objection to making Juneteenth a federal holiday.
Good morning, how you doing? I'm Ron.
Senator Ron Johnson arrived Saturday at Milwaukee's annual Juneteenth celebration.
Happy Juneteenth, okay? Nice to meet you. God bless you.
Potentially.
How rich is it that this motherfucker walks up on some little kid talking about some happy Juneteenth like he really been about this Juneteenth shit, man? Like, come on, bro.
Looking to explain why he blocked last year's passage over objections to the price tag of a new federal holiday.
A year went by, nobody else seemed to have a problem with that, so I certainly wasn't going to object, and I'm really glad that now this is a national holiday for all time, that we can celebrate the emancipation of slaves.
Why are you glad when you were the one who would object? You were the only one objecting to this shit last year. Now you're glad. You were the only motherfucking one, Chief. The only one.
Okay.
And shout out to the people who were there who was like, yo, man, this nigga is full of shit. Like, honestly, man, like, you full of shit, bro. Like, and people know this. And like, I want y'all to listen to some of the dog whistles that he lets out later on in this interview.
Only to be confronted by a crowd not happy to see him.
Can I just say, this is not the way you heal a nation, okay?
This is not the way you heal a nation. Now it's black people's responsibility to heal a nation. Meanwhile, you were the one who was opposed to this very thing happening on this day. Come on, man.
Johnson, who has yet to say if he'll seek a third term next year, has faced criticism in recent months over comments about the January 6th Capitol attack and race, seemingly culminating this weekend face-to-face.
You got some people here that are just sort of nasty. It's unfortunate. Again, this is not how you heal this nation. You come down here and you try to interact with people. You be nice to people. This isn't very nice, is it?
In Milwaukee, I'm Matt Smith, WISN 12 News.
Yeah, so he's basically like trying to make it as though like the people are wrong for having an adverse reaction to his being there, knowing that you were opposed to this very fucking thing happening from the very beginning. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Nobody is obligated to be nice to you when you were out here being adversarial towards everybody fucking else. Fuck you. So yeah, man, that's proud to be an American. Ron Johnson, I can't, yeah. He got booed, man, and then like, this is not how you heal this nation. Man, fuck you. How about that? Heal this fuck you. You know? So yeah, man, that's in Proud to be an American. Another story that we got here in Proud to be an American. And this is actually a story that that I was actually surprised to see this coming from the person that it was coming from. Real talk. I ain't even gonna lie to you guys. Real surprised that this guy was the one who said this thing. But what was this? This happened over a congressional hearing, apparently, where the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff they were like testifying in front of Congress, and Representative Matt Gaetz, Representative Butthead. This dude really looks like Butthead. Like I'm telling y'all, man, look up Matt Gaetz and then look up Butthead and tell me they ain't the same dude. Like, tell me Matt Gaetz ain't the same dude as Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. I'm telling you, man, look those dudes up. I know Butthead is a fictional character, but goddamn it, look at Butthead. Look at his hairstyle. Look at how like their mouth is shaped and all this other shit. I'm telling you, Matt Gaetz is Congressman Butthead. I guarantee you're gonna be looking like Weebay. You're gonna be looking like Weebay on that GIF, man. Real talk. But man, the Joint Chiefs chair, was it Mark Milley, had a chance to respond to questions as to whether or not critical race theory should be a part of the military academy's curriculum, and whether or not they should even be, doing the stand downs for, they were talking about how like there may be some level of racism within the military and how they can, more forcefully address it. Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, actually kind of like broke in a way that I didn't think he was gonna break, man. Real talk. Like, he kind of broke bad on these Republicans, and I was fucking here for it. So as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull this up. Did I have this up for you guys? I do not have this up for you guys. Let me pull this up, and let's do this right here, right now. All right, check this out, y'all. Mark Milley, I'm sorry. going in on Matt Gaetz. Check this out.
Mr. Secretary, why was Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer relieved of his command?
It was a decision made by his chain of command, and typically those decisions are made based upon either having confidence or a lack of confidence. This issue is under investigation by the IG, and so I won't comment any further on that.
In my previous discussions with service members and particularly officers, I would hear about complaints over parts not arriving on time, long deployments, and in my more recent discussions with those officers, the number one issue that they raised to me with concern, often unable to speak publicly for fear of the type of retribution that Lieutenant Colonel Lohmeyer faced, they say that your stand down regarding extremism.
Y'all can't tell me this dude don't look like fucking Butthead, bruh. Look at this dude. This is Congressman Butthead. Congressman motherfucking Butthead. Matt Gaetz is Congressman Butthead. Real talk.
Did not help our military. It hurt the military. And I want to share with you that perspective, that it caused service members to otherize one another. It impaired group cohesion. And interesting to me is that I've heard those sentiments most frequently from units that are majority minority, that this was not particularly helpful. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to maybe share with us more specificity regarding the definitions that seem to be a challenge when Ms. Hartzler was asking questions. How should the Department of Defense think about critical race theory?
Could I make a comment, Secretary? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm very limited on my time, General Mills.
Well, I just want to make a comment that the feedback
I know, but
I've
asked the question to Secretary Austin.
I don't know what the issue of critical race theory is and what the relevance here with the department. We do not teach critical race theory. We don't embrace critical race theory, and I think that's a spurious conversation. And so we are focused on extremist behaviors, and not ideology, not people's thoughts, not people's political orientation. Behaviors is what we're focused on. And one final point, and thanks for your anecdotal input, but I would say that I have gotten 10 times that amount of input, 50 times that amount of input on the other side that have said, hey, we're glad to have had the ability to have a conversation with ourselves and with our leadership. And that's what we need to make sure
again,
that we remain
reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary,
Yo, shout out to Secretary Austin as well, man. Like, I know right now I'm talking about like Mark Milley, but like, yo, shout out to Secretary Austin for like, yo, man, like you talking about the few people you talk to. Like, I have access to a lot more of these motherfuckers than you do, and I've talked to a lot more of these people than you have. And yeah, they not saying the same shit that you call yourself talking about. They saying when they talking to you. So yeah, man, shout out to him for like kind of like going in on that. But yo, let me go ahead and fast forward this shit because yeah, this is quite long. I didn't realize it was gonna take that long for us to get to where we needed to go. But yo, here we are. Check this out, y'all.
Sure. First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States antebellum laws prior to the Civil War that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I have both been berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military. And I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment on that.
Thank you, General.
Yo, man, so the reason why I bring this up, right, and the reason why I've been kind of like alluding to this whole critical race theory shit, throughout the show, is because you've got a lot of politicians, Republican politicians, by the way. You got a lot of politicians who are acting as though critical race theory is like the scourge of the United States educational system, right? Who are trying to make an issue out of nothing. And I'm gonna just say to you this right now, man. I don't know if I've said this on the show, but I know I've said it like numerous times on social media. Republicans are very motherfucking good at creating issues out of issues that don't fucking exist, right? So, one of the issues that Republicans like try to make a thing was, y'all remember fucking transgender bathroom usage? Y'all remember that a few years ago? Where they tried to get everybody in hysteria about like, yo, man, these trans women are using, women's bathrooms, and they're really just a man in a dress. And, what about our daughters? What about our wives? What about our aunts and our grandmas? They're going to be in there and they're going to attack all of these women while they're in the bathrooms. Never mind the fact that trans women have been using these bathrooms already. Nobody was even thinking about the shit. They had already been using these bathrooms. Right? They would go in there, do their business, and go the fuck out, get the fuck out, just like any other woman would. Right? They brought that up as a political issue because they wanted to amplify their base to get them to go out and vote. It is the exact same thing when it came to trans women, when it comes to sports and their participation in sports. Republicans would have you believe that trans women or trans boys, but trans girls and women were boys and men who sucked at sports and are chomping at the bit for the opportunity to transition into a woman so that they can therefore then become great at the sports that they are trying to participate in and take advantage of or take away an opportunity from a woman or a girl who had been competing in these spaces, right? They got a whole bunch of motherfuckers chomping at the bit believing that this is what this is. Do y'all understand dudes? Do y'all understand dudes? Like, dudes ain't really like, yo, I'm here like, man, well, shit, I guess I ain't gonna make the team as a dude. Like, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and put this wig on and put this dress on and so I can make the squad next year. Like, niggas ain't thinking like that. That's not how it works. It's never been how it works. And I challenge anybody who, without even using Google, because I know a lot, because what happens is this, y'all gonna go to Google, y'all gonna bring up the one fucking story that comes up, I believe it's like somewhere in New England, I want to say Connecticut or New Hampshire or someplace like that, of that one young lady who says that she lost scholarships and all this other shit, or she was losing races. Never mind the fact that she actually beat the transgender girl who was competing against her. She beat them a few times as well. But they would use that to say that, like, yo, man, we shouldn't allow these trans girls and trans women to be able to compete in women's sports, right? And then now you have Republicans across the country who are enacting laws or presenting laws to say that, like, trans girls or trans women shouldn't be allowed to compete in women's sports, right? They do this to amplify their base. They do this to get people riled up. It's a non-existent issue. None of you motherfuckers can name anybody who has denied a woman a chance at the Olympics, or denied a young lady a scholarship opportunity, or denied a young lady a championship because they were competing against a trans girl or a trans woman. But Republicans got y'all believing out here, some of y'all. If you listen to the sound of my voice, I believe y'all are smart, so y'all don't believe this shit. But they got a lot of these motherfuckers out here believing that it's a whole hell of a lot of boys just waiting, chomping at the bit, so that they can become young women and young girls, so they can go out here and compete in these sports. The fuck out of here, man. That don't even make sense. If you even understand what dudes and what dudes and how dudes like think. That ain't how they think. Right? Which brings us to like the voter fraud shit. Voter fraud. They got y'all believing that like, yo, man, you got people who are dead, who are voting, who shouldn't be voting. You got people who like are out here like, you know, voting for like twice and 3 times and shit like that. And every time we've heard about somebody voting fraudulently, a lot of times, guess who it was? Republicans. We had a story a few weeks ago where a guy who had like he voted for his wife for Donald Trump, and his wife had been missing. Like, she had been all over the fucking news. And he said, well, shit, she'd probably voted for Trump anyway, so I said, fuck it, and filled out her ballot for her. Right? They do this to get, and not only that, they're changing laws. They are changing voting rights laws across this country based on a fucking lie that thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are out here voting illegally. Right? Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell gets out in front of the fucking press and tells you that there's nothing wrong with the voting system in America. Well, if there's nothing wrong with the voting system in America, Mitch McConnell, why in the fuck are Republican legislatures across this country trying to change the rules on everybody? Make that make sense. Stop playing in our motherfucking face. Right? Which brings us all the way up to this critical race theory shit. Critical race theory isn't even being taught in high school. It isn't being taught in middle school. It isn't being taught in elementary school. Hell, it isn't even being taught in undergrad. The vast majority of people who are learning about critical race theory are law students. And the curriculum comes out of Harvard Law School. They aren't teaching this shit in the schools. But mind you, you got Republican legislatures across this motherfucking nation who are passing laws to ban critical race theory from being taught in the schools. They're banning something that doesn't fucking exist, yo. Right? It's to amplify, it's to get their people ready to vote come 2022. Midterm elections are coming up. This is why these things keep, like, for as much as we don't really fuck with the Republican Party, the one thing I will say is this: is they know how to amplify and get their people ramped up and ready to go. Sometimes on the left, sometimes what we consider the left here in America, sometimes, like, you know, we get caught up in some of the minutia of certain book, like, you know, well, you know, he said, you know, this, and I don't really know, man. I don't really feel good about, like, yo, like, Republicans be putting out bullshit. They don't govern. They don't govern on any fucking real shit no more. That shit is dead. They are governing on social, like, fucking what is it? Cultural issues. That's it. They don't have policy anymore. They can't justify anything anymore. Republicans represent a minority here in this nation. They know it. And so they're setting the stage for them to have a minority rule here in this nation. If people don't pay a fucking attention, if people don't pay attention to the shit that's going on right now, they will get away with it. Right? So they talk about critical race theory as though it is the scourge of the United States, you know, educational system. You got people who believe that they teaching this shit to your 5th grader. And then here's what they do is they will conflate anything that has anything to do with, like, racism, racial history here in America. They will conflate any of that shit to critical race theory, despite the fact that critical race theory is a legal thing. It comes out of the Harvard Law School. They conflate everything with critical race theory. They try to tell you that the 1619 Project is critical race theory. They will lump The Color of Law, book that I referenced earlier, with critical race theory, despite the fact that the Color of Law is a book that just basically tells you about the racial covenants, about the legal ramifications, about how they systemically installed racism in housing in America and the United States. They will put that as though that was critical race theory. That is not a book of critical race theory. It's just a historical book. And if you're looking at something for like real estate or whatever else, how people found themselves living in places that that they lived, right? But they would tell you that is critical race theory now. Everything. As a matter of fact, one of the people who was like real prominent as far as like demonizing critical race theory is a guy that goes by the name of what? I'm sorry, let me pull this back up. It's a guy that goes by the name of Christopher Rufo. Now, Christopher Rufo went on Twitter to actually just kind of verify exactly what he was trying to do. And he said, we have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we will put all the various cultural insanities under that brand category. This is a fucking op. It is an operation. And I need people to understand what that is, man. I need people to understand, like they come up with these issues that don't mean shit really. But when it comes, what they do is they get their base amplified on these made up issues. And sometimes our people eat that shit up. Our people will eat that shit up. I had a conversation earlier today. This doesn't have to do with like critical race theory and everything else, but I had a conversation earlier today with somebody I went to college with. And he sent me this article by Jason Whitlock. And like off top, I already know Jason Whitlock be on some bullshit. So off rip, because I know who the messenger is, I'm already side-eyeing the messenger and shit. And as I read through this fucking article about whether or not Kevin Love deserved to be on Team USA for the Olympics and all this other shit, it had something to do with like Kevin Love being on the dream team or like Team USA and Jalen Rose saying that it was a tokenism sort of pick and all this other shit. Jason Whitlock, of course, takes this as an opportunity to talk about Black Lives Matter, to talk about whether or not or better yet, to talk about Jalen Rose's wife being white and all this other things, right? And this friend from college of mine, he's talking about how like BLM, and he Jason Whitlock took some pot shots at BLM. And this friend of mine from college, he was talking about how like BLM isn't for black people, how they wanted to like disenfranchise the black family, how they promote homosexuality and all these other things. And like off rip, I'm like, yo, the irony of you calling people closed-minded, because he called me closed-minded because I was like, I was kind of mocking the idea of him sending me an article from Jason Whitlock. But he was like, I'm like, the irony of you calling me closed-minded while you're going on and on about gay people. Like the irony, the fact that you don't see the irony in that is fucking crazy to me. Right? Fucking crazy to me. Because they get you to buy into some of the bullshit rhetoric about Black Lives Matter, where you talk about like they want to disenfranchise the black family, they want to get rid of the black family, they want to like they are using black people, with Black Lives Matter. They only talking about the police when black people kill black people every day. Like yeah. I've heard that story 1,000 times. We've explained that shit 1,000 times. You believe that bullshit. Some of our people eat this shit up. And I need us to be a little bit more aware of the fact that, like, they know that there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out here who eat this shit up. And they will use that going into the voting booth. So when they start talking about people talking about going into, like, Black Lives Matter or critical race theory, that isn't even being fucking taught in their schools, but they're going to ban some shit. Or better yet, they're banning everything and calling it critical race theory. There are certain books now that you're in certain states, your kids will probably never be able to read in school because they've deemed that critical race theory, despite the fact that it has absolutely nothing to do with critical race theory whatsoever. Right? So yeah, man, I said all that to say that I can appreciate General Mark Milley going before the United States Congress to tell them, like, yo, the fact that I'm reading this shit doesn't make me a certain thing. I seek to understand. I want to understand. I want to understand white rage, and I'm white. I want to understand why these people decided they were going to like attack this building, right? I want to understand that. That's the thing, man. Like, and I've said this on the show a while ago, probably a couple weeks ago. Like, this is the only country, man. Like, well, I was talking about Kwame Brown. Like, you know, he was talking about people going to school and all this other shit. Like, yo, man, we are the only country who mock people who get paid for the shit that they do. We are one of the few countries who mock experts and shit. The people who know what the fuck it is that they're talking about. Like, you got a whole bunch of people who go on YouTube, who go on, like, Google and everything else, who go on Facebook and think that they know more than the people who are actually practicing in that field. I know more than you because I went to Google. I went to YouTube. Fuck out of here. So I can appreciate General Mark Milley going before the United States Congress to call the bullshit that these Republicans are calling are talking when it comes to critical race theory. Like, yo, man, yeah, fuck what y'all talking about. I want to learn about that shit. So as a warrior, here's the tripped out part, man. Now you got Republicans talking about defunding the military. Nigga, when did you ever think you would see some shit like that? When did you ever think you would see some shit like that with like Republicans, like conservatives are talking about, well, goddamn, the military probably need to get their money taken away from them. Nigga, we've been talking about defunding the military for years. Y'all just now getting there? It took this for y'all to say that? Come on, man. Come on, man. So, yeah, man. That's been proud to be in America, y'all.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Yeah, but y'all know what time it is.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
All right. It's Champ of the Week time here at the Spirit Report Podcast. And our Champ of the Week this week here is somebody who's unnamed, man. I don't know this brother's name. I don't know if anybody ever found out what this brother's name is, but he was like a delivery person in San Francisco, and he ran into some dude who, like, you know, being a Karen, like a male Karen. What do you call them? Like Baron? I don't know. Like Jared, maybe. I don't know what you call. I don't know what you call a white equivalent of Karen. Maybe it's like Jared or something. But yo, man, he was delivering packages, and some dude confronted him. Some dude confronted him about him being in the neighborhood, and he just kind of like gave Buddy a bit of his own motherfucking medicine. So let me go ahead and pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man. I'm getting this here from Roland Martin, but I want you guys to see this. So check this out, y'all. Check this. Let me wait. Come on, pull this on up. All right. All right. Here we go.
Please get out of my face. Put your mask on. There you go. I'm outside. I don't need a mask. What the fuck do you want?
What the fuck do you want?
Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Why do you think that I have to answer your fucking questions? Why do you think that I have to answer your questions, dude?
Who the fuck are you?
It's none of your business. It's none of your business. Get out of my way.
Who are those addressed?
Don't worry about what the fuck I'm doing. Get out of my face. Every time I come around here, motherfuckers like you make my job harder. Please get out of my face, dude.
But you haven't identified.
That's none of your business. Why do you think that I have to identify myself? You ain't seeing nothing. You ain't seeing nothing. Don't worry about who I'm with. It's none of your business.
Who are the boxes addressed to?
You really gonna do this? What's your name? Let's see some identification. What's your name? What's your address? Pull it out. Come on. You live right there, right? Let's go over there and see what your address is. Since you got something to say about it. Right? That's what you want to do? You want to ask for identification?
You're the one in the neighborhood here.
Yeah, that's right. So what?
So
it's
what?
It's a free fucking country, ain't it?
Buddy shaking and shit. Buddy shaking.
You did this. Don't start shaking and crying. What's your name? What's your name, buddy?
John.
John what?
That's all you get.
John what? John what? You come over here asking for identification? John what? I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and your missing packages. You think I'm crying over that shit? John, what? You want to ask for identification? Where's your fucking identification? Nah, it's good. I'll one-up that. Good. Go fucking look for a police officer, you pile of shit. Don't think I don't know why you came over here and stopped me.
This brother is
Because
going
you think
to
I
fuck
belong
off.
in another neighborhood, right? Fuck yourself.
Fuck yourself.
You are why people get killed and end up on the fucking news, you pile of shit. You're the fucking reason why. Fuck you.
This brother has had it. He's fucking had it.
Oh yeah, me? This is where this asshole lives.
Looks nice, man.
When I first came on this street, he hollered at me from that window right there. He asked me what I'm doing. I told him none of his business, and he came down here and wanted to talk to me. So now we're gonna talk.
I wondered. So here's the thing. Hold on. Let me pause this for a second. Yeah. I wonder if this brother like still has his job. Like I wonder if this brother still has his job, because I know like he recorded everything. But you know, a lot of folks, a lot of these corporate entities are like, yo man, like, you know, the language, you know, the customer service, you know, the reputation of their company is on the line, man. I don't know if we really can stand behind you on this one. So I just wonder if this guy like still has his job. Like we don't know who this fella is, and like, yo, he's still champ regardless. But like, yo, man, I wonder if this brother still has his gig.
2255 Clay Street. Bit off more than you can chew, didn't you? Good for you. You heard about the Karen Act, right? So good luck with that. Who's really breaking the law? Okay. Good thing you did this, huh? Good thing this is how you woke up in the morning and decided what to do. This is what you decided to do with your day. What's your last name, John? Hey, John, what's your last name?
Like, that's the other part that's really weird about this entire thing, is that, like, yo, he was really amped to find out what the delivery driver's name was. He was really amped at that. But, like, now he has absolutely nothing to fucking say. He said he called the police and all this other shit. I doubt that dude ever called the fucking police for real. But he says he called the police. He has absolutely nothing to say now. He was very fucking amped to, like, harass this dude before. But I don't think he thought this was the way it was going to go. Oh, shit.
What's your last name, John? Call them now. You should call them. For what? Tell me what you're calling them for. Because you're harassing. Oh, now it's harassment.
Exactly.
Before it was because I was walking down the street. Now I'm harassing you? Didn't you call for me from that fucking window right there? Didn't you call for me? I was across the street. You called out to me. I didn't come over here looking for you. Hey, no.
He's trying to flip it.
Call the cops,
He's
please.
trying to flip it.
Please, call the cops.
Aw.
You fucked up. No, because you're an asshole, and this is why people fucking die. Motherfuckers that look like me die because of motherfuckers that look like you. Have you not opened up a fucking newspaper? Can you not look around and see what the fuck is going on because of this bullshit right here? Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit, man. And now, motherfuckers like me, got little fucking handhold recording devices in our pockets. So bullshit assholes like you can't get away with the bullshit you be pulling anymore. So go ahead, call the fucking cops. Call the fucking cops, man. You already said you're gonna call them, right? I'm not evading. I'm not leaving the scene of a crime. That's what you said you're gonna do, right? So call the cops. It's none of your business. You shouldn't have fucking stepped on my toes in the first place. And a younger me would have beat your fucking ass, but I'm not gonna do that. Call the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops, man.
Yeah, man.
That's what you said. Did you call the cops?
Yeah, man.
That's what you said, right?
My man
You're
is
threatening the police.
Hold
on
on,
me.
let me stop this.
I'm telling you that if you don't stop.
Listen. Buddy is fed the fuck up, man. Buddy is fed the fuck up. I swear to God, I wish I had his name so that we could probably give this dude the championship fucking kudos that he deserves for this shit right here, because he was having none of it. He is the champ of the motherfucking decade for this shit right here, man. Oh my God. He told that dude to call him. Like, yo, call him. Call him. You know what about the Karen Act, nigga? Who's breaking the law here now, motherfucker? Like, he called him all sorts of Listen, man. Listen. Hey, brother. Listen, if you ever see this episode, reach out, man. We want to give you your proper due. We want to give you your proper due, man. Like, that dude is like champ of the decade for the shit that he just did right there, man. And like I said, I hope that brother still got a Jackson in the chat room like, yo, oh shit, this ER Black. He's like, call him. Everybody's like, yo, I love this shit. I love it too. He's the champ of the week. Here at the Spann Report podcast, man. Yo, man, real talk. Oh man, that was, yeah. That's palate cleansing, man. We feel good after that champ of the week, don't we? Don't we? I feel good. But yo, man, it is time for us to get the fuck on up out of here. I've been running my mouth for quite a bit. But before we get out of here, I gotta remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Spann Report podcast and let your voice be heard, man. Go ahead and hit up that hotline. Area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, they will get read here live on the show. Play here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Leave us those emails, and of course, those emails will get read here and replied to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead and follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. And also hit up our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like, and we appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. You can also vote in the polls. We decide to put those polls up and buy yourself some merch from our store, man. Really hook us up and and support us in that way, man. Real talk. Also, shout out to my man James Pitts, who has Black Excellence. The Black Excellence brand, man. Get yourself one of these shirts, man. I'm telling you, man, the cotton on this shirt, man. Oh my God, it is comfortable. It fits your boy so well, and I like the quality of the shirt is. In fact, I like the way this shit feels on my chest, man. But no, man, go ahead and copy yourself some of that Black Excellence, man. This is gonna be in the show notes. Go ahead and hit that link and patronize my man James Pitts, man. Shout out to the Wine Click, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Real talk. But yo, it is time for us to get on up out of here. I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam. Peace.